All right, guys, we are back again for another one of my podcasts, episode 7, actually. And today we are talking about don't buy stupid crap. And just going to be talking about how this ties into saving money and what you can do to minimize unnecessary expenses and get some more money in your pocket. So, this is Mini Talks with John, and let's get going. So, first off, I think we should really define a little bit about myself and where I'm coming from. I am a super frugal person because I was raised in a super frugal household, and we didn't spend a lot of money on things that we didn't need. We would buy quality things that would last us a long time and help us out, but for the most part, we didn't buy a lot of toys or useless things. I mean, I had a great childhood and stuff, but didn't have everything. We were very frugal, and we didn't spend money on a lot of stuff. And so for me, that's something I've carried into my adult life, and I don't buy a lot of things that don't contribute to my immediate goals or things that I need. So I have the bare necessities, and then after that, I don't really do that. So I really want to encourage you guys to reevaluate what it is you spend your money on, especially when it comes to luxury items. I learned it from Rich Dad Poor Dad, but the rich use their returns on investments and their assets in order to pay for their luxuries, whereas a lot of people who keep themselves poor unintentionally, they just use their income to buy luxuries. And there's a huge difference between the two. And we'll talk about that more later on. But I want to talk about all of the different things that you can buy that really don't help you and sort of help reframe a mentality. And so for me, I don't buy a lot of really nice clothes. I keep it really simple. I just get something at Old Navy. I'll try to get it at Value Village if I can. And get branded stuff at Value Village is a great way to still get good clothes, but not pay as much. So that's something that I do. I try to keep it very simple. That way I can take more money for things that I want to do. So So for example, a lot of people, young guys my age, they'll buy like a really fancy car, or they'll buy a cheap car and then they'll spend thousands of dollars souping it up. And I would really just have a few questions. One, is that really necessary? Of course, it's not necessary, but we do it for fun. But the question I would have is, what could you have done with that money that would have made you more money? And how does having flashy rims on your car make you more money or increase your ability to earn money? Like, that's what I want to know. So I get it. If you're like a race car driver and you want to be a mechanic or an auto body person and you're practicing on your own car, sure, follow the passion, get the skills to make a job. But for the most of us, we're wasting $10,000 or more on a car that does the exact same thing as a 10-year-old Honda Civic. You know, like, you can go on Kijiji and get a $6,000, $5,000 Honda Civic that's 10 years old, and it'll do the exact same thing as that fancy car. And so I think it really comes down to values and trying to figure out what it is you're actually trying to build. Are you just living for the moment and just trying to have stuff to keep you happy and impress people, whom, by the way, you probably don't even like, or got that from Gary Vee, obviously, or are we gonna, make some sacrifices and use the money to build something like a business or get stuff for a YouTube channel, anything. Like, for example, I really want like a nice watch, but I won't buy one because I know that $200 can be spent elsewhere that could make me more money, like ads for my Instagram or Facebook page. Like, those are things that matter more to me because I can build something that can then generate me more income. And I feel like a lot of times people keep themselves unintentionally poor by buying things that they don't actually need. And I was just listening to the book The Richest Man in Babylon, and they made a very interesting point that when someone's income increases, their perceived necessary expenses also increases with it. So chances are a lot of the things that you feel are necessary actually aren't. Like, it's not necessary to have that brand new car and make payments on it. You can take that money for something else? Is it necessary to have that big house when another small house would do just fine? Is it necessary to have all of those different kinds of shoes when 2 or 3 different pairs would do just fine? I think a lot of this is about the lifestyle that you want to live. And for me, I prefer a very minimalistic lifestyle that allows me to save a lot of money for my future. So if I want to start a business, I have capital ready and waiting and ready to go. And it also allows me to invest in the stock market and things like that and increase my wealth. And so I just want to really encourage people, like, don't waste your money on silly things that don't actually contribute to your life. If you clutter up your house with all this stuff, what do you actually do it with? Like, what do you actually do with it? I mean, like, I clean out my room, every other month or so, and I keep getting rid of stuff somehow, stuff that I don't need. And so I really think that if you take a minimalistic approach, it's far better to do that, because then you could save more money and generally just increase your net worth, which I think is really, really valuable. So let's just go over a quick list of things that I don't really think are too worth it, like buying a fancy new car or upgrading it to make it look good. I don't really see that as worth it, because it doesn't add any value and it just goes down in value. And where instead of spending $30,000-$40,000 on a nice car, you could spend $6,000 on a decent car and then pocket the 30 grand, or not go into debt for 30 grand. And that can give you a lot of liberty and freedom. $500 shoes. Again, they do the exact same thing as a $100 pair of shoes. And unless you are getting orthopedics and you're always on your feet and you're trying to keep your feet healthy, I don't see the purpose in that. That's $500 that you could have used to pay down your credit card debt or increase your net worth or buy stocks or anything like that. Super nice shirts that cost $100. Like, I was in the store the other day and they had this polo shirt that was $60. $60 for a stupid shirt. It had like a little dumb piece of metal on it. Didn't even look good. So, that's just me, obviously. But I think it's really important that we shift our mindset in terms of where our money actually goes and how much we actually need. And again, back to the point where you'd be really surprised as to how many things we buy that actually are not necessary. And if you put in the effort, you could drastically decrease your expenses and save a lot of money. And so I really encourage anyone, if you're not using this stuff to make you more money, and obviously you want to live a nice life, but don't go all out and buy things that you're not going to remember in 5 years. Like, if you buy a $200 watch, chances are you're going to buy a better one later on. And like, why would you? I mean, for me, yeah, I do want that watch, but it's not really something that I'm interested in buying right now, because again, it doesn't really make me more money. It doesn't contribute to my business or my YouTube channel or the things that I really care about. And so for me, eliminating things that don't do that is a great way to save money. And I would encourage anyone listening to do the same, and just really evaluate your values and figure out what it is that you actually want. And you can be pretty ingenious and find out some pretty cool ways to cut back your expenses, especially just by not buying things that you don't need. And yeah, that's really my message for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you so much for tuning in. And as always, thank you. Again, that's all I gotta say. Goodbye.